Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with another episode of The State of Things. Today is October 4th, the beginning of spooky season. We've got some interesting topics today. Maybe some that are not so interesting.
Spooky topics.
Ooh. But to start this episode off, we're going to do our classic, Rank That Thing. And in spirit of spooky season, we're going to be ranking our top 3 chocolate bars. We will maintain an orderly fashion. Round table clockwise, 3, 2, 1. In that order.
All right.
Of chocolate bars. Or chocolate-esque candy. I shall begin.
Begin.
Number 3. A Crunch bar.
Crunch?
Crunch.
Is that Nestle?
I have no idea.
Crunch is aight.
I like the crunch. Nice. You
Yeah.
didn't like that, Ben.
Crunch is good. It's not number 3.
I'm not a huge fan of chocolate, so all of mine are gonna
very
be
interested to see
in
what
the
your
chocolate-esque.
next ones are. Is it? We're going clockwise?
Yeah.
So I guess it's also next.
I'd probably say the Hershey's milk chocolate bar.
The just plain?
Yep.
No almonds?
Oh.
Okay.
Is that the white one?
No. How dare you?
Is it just the regular one?
Yeah, just
Okay.
regular one.
Milk chocolate bar. All right, sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
The regular milk chocolate almond joy.
Is that the one with the nuts
The coconuts.
and the almonds?
That's why it's called an almond joy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the blue. It has the blue. The dark chocolate one is the red wrapping. So number 3 is almond joy.
Okay. I'm gonna go with number 2. The Kit Kat.
Good choice.
That is a. Give me a break with that.
Oh no.
Let's see. I think my number 2 probably be.
Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
I'm gonna go with the Zero bar.
The Zero bar.
Yeah,
Out there.
I like that one.
You always
Is
spice
that
these
the,
rankings up.
Is that the silver one?
Yeah, it's like silver and blue.
What is that one?
It just looks like a white Snickers.
What type of
It's a chocolate bar.
like what type of chocolate though?
I think it's white chocolate.
What's
and
the flavor?
I forgot what's in the middle of it. I think it's just like wafer.
It's not mint though. Okay.
Ugh.
For some reason, I always thought it was mint. Number 2 for me is the what you blasphemy mentioned earlier, the cookies and cream Hershey's bar.
Oh.
Yeah,
Is
I
that the
like
white
that
one?
one.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you just think of that?
No,
Or you already had
I
that?
had that in
Okay.
my mind.
Cookies and cream. Cookies and cream.
Yeah.
All right. Number 1. The Reese's. Formerly known as Reese's.
Yeah. So the peanut butter cups, not Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces.
Are they not the same thing?
No, that's 2 different things.
What is a Reese's Pieces?
That's the little ones, like almost M&M type size.
They've made so many different kinds of
Yeah, they have
candies with those.
a ton. There's actually a Reese's
Oh,
bar
it's like
now.
a Skittle.
Yeah.
Or an M&M, you said. Sorry.
Yeah. You've never seen those?
I just always thought the little ones were just the Reese's Pieces.
They are.
But the little Reese's.
The
Like
peanut
you got
butter
the
cups?
big, you got the big cups, and then you got like the little cups.
Those are peanut butter cups too.
Yep.
Dose. Okay. Yeah. No, not the Reese's Pieces. I've never had the Reese's Pieces. Just the buttercups. You're right.
Oh, all right. I like it.
All right. I think my number 1 would be Butterfinger.
He does spice things up, doesn't he?
He does.
We
Someone
got
even said
zero.
something. Someone said something to me last week about his chips picks.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know what those are. He's got some strange chips he likes.
I learned that Buc-ee's sells dots now, which was
The
my
gas
number one
station?
chip. Yeah.
The world's largest gas
Oh
station.
my gosh. Yeah. All right, my number
Is
one.
there even a Buc-ee's around here?
There's going to be one on the coast, supposedly.
Oh.
But there's one in Alabama on the way to the coast. There's one in Alabama on the way to Atlanta, and then Texas, obviously, on the way to Dallas, or really anywhere else you're going to Texas.
Okay.
They're building them everywhere now. My number one is Reese's as well, the Buttercups.
That's a good choice.
Classic, cannot be beaten. But the question is, since we need to have a tiebreaker on, since we're both number one on Reese's, what holiday Reese's is the best? Is it the pumpkin? Is it the Easter? Is it the bunny? Or is it the tree for Christmas?
I guess I'm going to have to go with just the bunny.
Not much thought into that one.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever had the pumpkin.
What? He has never had Reese's Pieces, and he hasn't had the pumpkin. The pumpkin's the best.
I can't remember.
Why is it the best? Because it's
For
shaped
some
like a
reason,
pumpkin?
it just tastes better than the other ones. The bunny's probably number 3. The tree's probably number 2. And
Don't they?
the pumpkin's number
Don't
1.
they also have a dark chocolate one that comes out like during Halloween?
Oh, I think they do. My gosh, they've got one for everything now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need
Is
to
there
go
a
get a
ghost
pumpkin
one?
one. There might be.
Oh,
You need
that's
to
my
go.
favorite one.
Is it a ghost?
There's a white chocolate one.
Yeah, I think it's a
Oh,
ghost.
pretty
yeah.
good.
I don't like that one as much. It kind of throws off the peanut butter. It's a weird mixture. But all right.
What's the worst chocolate bar?
Almond Joy.
How dare you? I could say 0, but I've
know
never
that.
had it.
Well, y'all
I've had
both,
0
like,
zeros.
People have very strong opinions about paydays and almond joys.
I like paydays
Uh,
occasionally.
who has strong opinions about almond joys?
People who don't like coconut, which is a lot of people.
Well, then how dare
Just
them?
me.
First off,
Which is awesome.
Payday.
And I'm not a huge
I don't
fan.
think enough people eat payday to have a haters group.
That's why they hate them. That's everybody.
Hate something
you
you
have
haven't
a lovers
had.
group, and then you have everyone else because they all hate paydays.
A side note, chocolate bar
We'll put it up in the description.
that is not it's chocolate, but it's not necessarily a chocolate bar. Are Reese's. They are very, very good.
A what?
It's
Oh,
Reese's.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a chocolate
Oh.
caramel almost. They come in little
Resin.
unwrapped. I think it might be.
Aren't those made like in Europe?
I think so.
Yeah.
Of course, you've got the Ghirardelli. Oh gosh, that's the Ghirardelli caramel squares. the Ghirardelli caramel squares for Christmas are very nice, as well.
What's the commercial that the famous Lindt chocolate? Is that what it is?
Lint's good too,
Yeah.
as is Dove.
Dove.
Oh yeah.
Is that the same people that make the soap?
No, no.
That would be interesting.
But I think Lint's in Europe. I don't know which country, Switzerland or
Probably.
maybe the Netherlands. And then Ghirardelli is they have a huge plant in San Francisco.
San Fran chocolate. Who would have thought?
So yeah, I could talk about sweets all day.
All right, so we had Reese's, and what was your number one?
Butterfinger.
Butterfinger. All right. I'll take it.
I cannot believe 0 made the list, but here we are. I can't.
You said cookies and cream. People also have strong feelings about cookies and cream.
Yeah, there's like a fan club. That is one of the most popular ones. That's a
In this
classic.
room.
Lindsay loves the cookies and cream.
Yeah.
That might be her number one.
We can call her and find out.
We need to
Take
phone
and call her.
we need to phone a friend.
We should have phoned a friend. Break the tie for the Reese's.
So yeah. All right. What's our next one?
Our next one, what it'll be, I want to keep it on the spooky train. Let's do.
Which of the 50 Halloween movies is the best?
Only 50?
I mean, there's another one coming out this year. I mean, how many times can you kill Michael Myers?
I know, I thought that same thing, but I think that every year.
I mean,
when they
Jamie
come
Lee
out with
Curtis is in it again this year.
Oh, geez.
It's a moneymaker.
Yep.
I mean, it must.
It's slashing at the movie theaters.
I watched one the other day. What was it called? It was on HBO. Malignant.
I haven't seen it.
It is crazy. It's
Have
not
you
even
seen
really a horror
Insidious?
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
I hate Insidious. Is not scary. It's just creepy and it's just painful viewing. The soundtrack is what makes that also.
Yeah. I thought it was an entertaining movie.
Austin.
I didn't think it was like scary, but
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily scary. I just turned it off because I was like, this is not worth my time. But the exorcism movies, like with Emily Rose, Paranormal Activity, I loved.
yeah, when it first came out and like nobody else was doing that,
Mhm.
that was really
Because
scary
when
movie.
the first Paranormal Activity came out, they just started the movie
Yeah.
and they didn't have any clips.
There's no
or,
backstory or anything.
Yeah,
It was
everybody for the first at least for like the first week was like, was this like documented? Like, was this a documentary
Yeah.
type thing? And then it obviously came out that it wasn't, but it was perfectly played that way.
The third Paranormal Activity was the closest I'd ever gotten to just leaving a theater.
Why?
I was just like scared out of my
Which
mind.
one is that? The one where they're at the building and the people are outside,
I think
like
so, with
coming in, and they're all possessed.
with the two girls,
I think
the two sisters. I think
it's been a while. Paranormal 2 was still at at a different house.
Yeah.
And
Like
that
the
one
sister
wasn't that
had
bad.
already been possessed, and it was the other sister, maybe.
I don't
I
remember.
gotta
No,
look
this one was. I
up.
think this
Hold
is
on.
the one that had like a flashback. It was like it was the two sisters' mother, maybe. I can't remember. I don't know. I know I went home and I found my
There's
cross
4 of
necklace
them.
and slept with that thing on. Like I don't mess around.
All right, Paranormal Activity 3. Yeah, it's in 1988. Sisters Katie and Christy seem to be enjoying a normal, happy childhood. That must be the throwback one.
Yeah.
That's the one that got you.
I don't think I
Mhm.
saw that one. I think I just saw 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's the.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, well that one. Let me see what is number 4. I didn't know there was a 4th one.
That was the one with
Older
the
girl.
kid.
She's older. Yeah, it's the older girl.
Oh, maybe it's not. Which one's the one with the second one's the one with like the neighbor child. Is that right? Or is that the fourth one? What's the
It's
second?
been so long.
No,
since I
because
know.
the second one's about the girl's sister and her
Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
and the dog in the pool. Spooky.
That's pretty good. Pretty well timed. Yeah. Paranormal 2. Oh, and there's apparently a Paranormal Activity Tokyo night. That's
Okay, we
I'm
gotta
down the
stop.
rabbit hole for that.
All right.
Was that straight to TV?
Just straight to something.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of those Netflix side shows from the original. All right, what do you want to talk about first? We got so many things to talk about.
Yeah, we gotta fit them in quick.
Let's see.
Saints lost. I'll just start there. Don't want to talk about
famous
it.
Jameis.
It wasn't famous Jameis. It was Seamus, Sean Payton. That's it. It was embarrassing.
Oregon lost to Stanford, and now somehow Penn State and Iowa are like number 3 and number 4 in the nation. Ole Miss got beaten.
Yeah,
Arkansas got
whooped.
slapped, and then Mississippi
It doesn't-
State won.
It doesn't make
Barely.
much in your rankings if Arkansas is number 8 and they lose 42-0.
Was it 40? I thought it was 37-0.
Well, they didn't score.
Yeah.
Number
Well,
8 in the world. Technically, it is the world, I guess. Should
And
probably score points.
Clemson's out of the top 25 for the first time since 2014.
I can't get enough of that meme.
What meme?
That where it's their quarterback and he's like in the private jet with the coach and they're like flying over the stadium. It's like, look, that's where you're going to be throwing touchdowns. And then like he's throwing like one touchdown.
We knew there'd be a drop off after Trevor Lawrence. Unfortunately, Florida State has dropped off a cliff
Yeah.
on their own.
Trevor Lawrence is dropped off on the Jaguars as well.
Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
He's gonna be having a heart attack. On
I saw him.
sideline.
I saw him on TikTok dancing with some girl in the club.
What?
And I just sent it to you.
Okay. All right. Well,
Maybe he wasn't dancing. He was dancing on a stool, and she was dancing on him.
isn't he married?
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay. All right.
Things are different down in Jacksonville.
Okay.
Real topic one. You got a lot to say. You got a book over there.
I'm letting you go first.
I don't even remember what I was going to talk about.
Well, you choose the topic, and then we'll.
What are my options?
Yeah. Well, you've got
Facebook was down today
Okay.
for an extended period of time.
Well, I guess we're going with that.
It's October
down.
4th if you wanted. It was back up when I left work.
Oh,
It was down for 6 hours, which it was down. Instagram was down. WhatsApp was down. And basically anything that you had to use Facebook authentication was basically down. I mean, you could probably get there, but what were you going to do?
Can you explain that? What does that mean? Facebook
What?
authentication.
Like, when you go to a website and it says, how would you like to sign in? It gives you Facebook, Google, or sign in with
yeah.
an email.
Yeah.
And people who sign in with Facebook couldn't get there.
Disclose.tv. I follow them on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it was in the New York Times that Facebook employees reportedly couldn't enter buildings to evaluate the internet outage because their door access badges weren't working.
Yeah.
Now, what exactly? Now, how would that be connected?
Most likely they have their credentials for those badges stored within some data center, and the data center was offline. So there's no way to communicate to that data center that those badges were who they were.
And nobody thought to have like a manual code to get
This
in.
is Facebook.
How about just a key for the door?
I
Don't need that for the employees.
I saw another tweet that said employees are having to text each other and use personal email to communicate.
The
instead
horror.
of Facebook. Oh.
Do you think that has anything to do with the 60 Minutes?
I didn't even know that was a thing until today. I don't think
Did
so.
y'all see that?
Mm-mm.
Well, basically, the Facebook whistleblower came out, and I didn't watch it all, but was saying that Facebook had run studies and knew exactly what it was doing
Yeah.
in the build up to
The election.
the election and then the aftermath in between what
What's
happened
that?
at the Capitol and then Biden getting inaugurated.
There's no way they didn't. I mean,
about,
you know how
like,
much they
the-
spend on that?
How they suppressed the Hunter Biden story.
Well, she didn't really talk about that. She was an interesting character because what she said, she had worked at Google and then she went to Facebook, and when she went to Facebook, she's like, I want to work on conspiracies because I lost a friend to a conspiracy theory.
Why are you saying it like that?
I just thought that was so funny. And she's like, it's painful to lose a friend to I mean, well, what exactly happened to the friend?
Dude, some of them go crazy.
Just went into the conspiracy theory. And then she talked about false information, and she was definitely a person that was in favor of censorship for a lot of speech. So she lost my support after that. But calling out Facebook's fine with me. I think they do a lot wrong.
Yeah.
People are multi-sided beings.
Yeah.
You wouldn't like you.
I wouldn't like me.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on my chocolate choices.
Yeah. We know we're poor.
Whoa.
You had one
How
good
da-
one.
How dare you? Almond Joy and cookies and cream?
I don't like either one of those. And Austin doesn't like Almond Joy.
I just don't like coconut.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some people out there that don't like coconut. I like coconut.
It's the texture.
But people are definitely going to like look back today. I'm sure. I mean, I know they already are, but after that, it is a alarming coincidence. You know, your Facebook servers go offline. Not just your servers; they're just unreachable. Like your own people can't get to them for hours.
And why is that disturbing? For the layperson, which would be me.
After the 60 minutes.
Yeah,
what
I
are
do
you
think
doing?
that is very coincidental
Yeah.
that literally the next day.
What are you doing with?
and that the employees can't get in.
Let me see that folder size. What's missing now?
And then the Pandora Papers. Did y'all read about that?
No.
Oh gosh, that's a thing in itself. It talked about wealth that was head of state's wealth hidden around the world, basically.
Oh.
It was like the what papers were released like 6 years ago? Oh well.
The Pentagon Papers?
No, it was something else. But so, what do you think about Facebook?
Nah, nothing. I think it was a mistake. Someone made an oversight, probably. Supposedly, they updated some configurations on there. Peer routing or something.
Yeah.
And it basically made the rest of the world not be able to find Facebook.
Yeah.
Which was causing problems with other places. Twitter was having an influx of
more people.
More people.
Isn't
traffic.
it interesting? Like human nature is. Every time Facebook or Instagram goes down, I immediately go to Twitter
To find out
and
why.
type Instagram, Facebook down.
Yeah.
And see. And everybody flocks there. It's like you have to be connected to it. You have to know what's going on.
One of the
immediately.
funniest things about this I saw is that Facebook, like, it has a status page, like, that gives you an update on Facebook's status. Well, that Facebook page, that status page is hosted on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, Facebook's down, so you can't get to the Facebook page that tells you Facebook's down. Which I guess is indicative of the
I
status.
feel like they should probably change that.
Yeah.
Change how you can view that.
Like you said, it's a learning one, you know. They're a small independent company.
I think
They're
is
just learning.
Yeah, right. It is amazing how much they have. WhatsApp is very popular in South America.
Yeah.
It is incredibly popular in South America.
Yeah.
Like when we went on our honeymoon to talk to our like concierge, you WhatsApped messaged them.
I wouldn't be shocked if someone, you know, was harmed because of this. I mean, you can't do anything about that because, I mean, these things happen inevitably. But
When you say harmed,
like that being their only line of communication
oh, I'm sure.
during a medical emergency or something.
That's how connected the world is now.
Yeah.
I mean, what we were talking about earlier, without even taking the share price into consideration and how many billions they lost on that, how much money they lost in those like 6 hours it was down. A lot. A lot of ad revenue.
I didn't even get on there today.
I tried to get on there and it just kept saying error.
Before I went over to Barbara's house, I was convinced that's why she said her Wi-Fi was messing up because she couldn't get on Facebook. That wasn't the case, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first thing I asked. I was like, are you trying to get on Facebook? Is that why you're telling me you can't get on the internet? But we'll find out in days to come. They'll come out with some PR response that's some BS, you know. Some of our services were affected by this outage, and we apologize. We'll give you $3 Facebook dollars for your inconvenience.
2 Farmville tokens.
Yeah, we might get a voucher for, like, promoting our podcast.
Yeah, something with the podcast I sent y'all. I didn't read that.
I didn't either, don't worry.
I skimmed through it and was like, oh, okay.
They could have said, oh, we won $1 million.
So committed.
I've already signed my soul away, like, at least 15 times.
Basically, what I got from that was they have, like, a dedicated podcast page now or something like that.
I bet now people don't have to, they can leave Facebook down on their phone and listen. I bet that's probably what they're aiming for. I didn't read it, so I don't know 100%. But I'm assuming because you know they won't allow you to play a YouTube video on Facebook. They don't want you to leave. So I'm assuming with a podcast on Facebook, they know that we're a podcast channel because they sent that directly to the email. But I imagine that's what they're targeting. They want to be able to allow people to play because that's the big draw in with Spotify and Pandora and all those that you can just plug it into the car and listen, or your headphones and listen, With Facebook, you have to have it open to listen.
Yeah, if you can play it in the background while like browsing a web page or something like that.
Yeah, would be better. So, all right.
Facebook down. Check.
What you got over there, Austin?
What'd y'all think about Let's Go Brandon?
I don't know what Let's Go Brandon is. The city?
Well, the man that won the NASCAR race. They were clearly chanting "Let's go Brandon" from the stands.
I heard about this, yeah.
And then it was trending on Twitter. And now it's become a thing.
Let's go Brandon.
Well, yeah. When you think the current president has done a good job, or when you're sarcastic about that, you hashtag "Let's go Brandon" at the end of it.
Oh, okay.
And it means something else completely.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that chanted a few times at Astro games.
Yeah, it's a thing now at a lot of sports games.
Every sports game.
And I don't know if the sportscaster that was interviewing the winner actually knew what was being chanted, or she was just being like, "Okay, I'm just going to say this is what it is."
But it does sound similar, though.
It kind of does. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt.
Does it?
Yeah, if you don't know what they're saying, it kind of does.
Kind of like from a muffled.
If you don't know what,
it's got the same like cadence, like kind of
like three different words.
I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 words. So if you don't know what we're referring to, just type in "Let's Go Brandon" NASCAR event on your computer and search.
Not at work. At least not with volume.
Not safe for work. Yeah. No, I think that's interesting. I mean, obviously, NASCAR is probably not his biggest supporter.
It's not even interesting.
Demographic.
no, not at all.
It's not interesting. You're just hooligans.
Hooligans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hooligans.
That was a pretty big size of the crowd that was doing that.
Yeah.
And it happened at a big college game in the SEC recently.
Heck, I saw it at State.
I bet it happens at every SEC
I'm sure it
game.
does.
Yeah. I mean, every game I've seen, they've had that.
They love Brandon down here.
Brandon is getting a lot of support. So, yeah.
Let's go.
All right, so I think my article was about China sending their planes into Taiwan. Like, since I think it was Friday, Britain sent a warship into the Taiwan Strait, and ever since then, no, they did that Monday, and that was the first time they've sent a ship since 2008. And so China, they didn't like that. So now they've been sending a lot of fighter jets over Taiwan airspace, trying to flex their strength. But let's see. The diplomat in Taiwan from Australia is asking for help to prepare them for war.
In Taiwan?
Yeah. Because China's been ramping up like drastically over the last couple days. I mean, they've sent 150 planes since Friday.
Yeah, I think they broke a record for the daily amount of flights flying into the ADIZ, which is like Taiwan's recognized air area.
Yeah.
Airspace.
Yeah. Airspace would be a better way to put that. Yeah. Thank you.
But they've been...
So are they just flying over and then coming back?
Yeah. I mean, just saying hey, we're here.
Yeah,
just in case you forgot about us.
It's so what Taiwan does every single time is they report what is happening, like how many. They post pictures of it, and they post their flight path too. And I think it's an effort by China to wear them down by doing that, to where they just get comfortable with China doing this. That's the whole plan, is to get it to where it's such a normal occurrence. Mm-hmm. 'Cause they do it almost every day now. This was over this weekend, and Friday was just the most they've ever done. And it's getting to the point now where you don't know. They're pretty much practicing, they think, for like the routes they're going to take if they were to take military action?
Yeah, like specifically, they were flying close to the Pratus Islands. I'm probably butchering that, but it's just a military outpost with a landing strip, and it's in an area that would be pretty difficult to defend.
Yeah.
So if they captured that, they'd have a strategic point to launch jets from if they ever did invade.
What do you think? Got thoughts on that?
Invade who?
Taiwan.
Okay. Just going to clarify. I swear I heard Australia involved in this.
Oh, well.
Well, yeah. So Australia's a Quad member. So Trump, when he was president, made an informal alliance with what's called the Quad. It's the United States, Japan, India, and Australia.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like a kind of a defensive pact for that area because of China.
Gotcha. The Quad.
Australia hates China. At least their leadership does. They're kind of in a trade fiasco as well. China's bullying them. But China, again, when we discussed Australia, China made fun of Australia's measures
That's
on
true.
COVID, which,
Yeah.
I mean, they probably have a good point with Australia since we've seen what
That's true.
what has happened since then. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think their measures were any less
Nah.
crazy. They were welding doors shut.
Oh, but you expect that in a
Yeah, that's
in a
China.
dictatorship,
Yeah.
but not in a democracy that Australia
That's true.
claims to be. So yeah, I mean, that ship, that's HMS Queen Elizabeth, that's Britain's only aircraft carrier, and we have 2 over there right now as well. And Japan, now that they're finally allowed to have some type of defense, they have a helicopter carrier there too. So you have all this deterrence, but the other question is if they did take the issue for America, if we're going to defend Taiwan and get drawn into it, if they didn't take the mainland of Taiwan and they just took like the landing strip, would we come in? And a lot of people think, well, that's probably not enough. But then that's the first step.
Yeah.
After that,
I think that would be the first. Well, probably a blockade would be the first step.
yeah.
think.
And what do you are you in a naval battle at that point? Because I mean, 50%, over 50% of chip supply comes from Taiwan,
Yeah.
which is kind of hard to believe. That would be a shortage of everything. Literally, that would bring some economies to an absolute
Yeah.
halt. Any new production, I mean, I think that would be incredible. We would probably have to go to war at that point, just from an economic standpoint.
Yeah.
That would kill a ton of companies.
Well, it's just it's because they have the materials, right? The silicone. or
apparently
whatever.
I think they have the materials, but they also in like the 1990s did like a forecast in what they thought their country should do to gain like some advancement, and they decided on that. So they've become the most advanced in the world at doing the chips.
I mean, but that can't stay that way.
Well,
You can't have just one piece.
well, the world is going that way, though.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot more since the 1990s.
Yeah.
And what I read is they're going to invest $100 billion in the next 3 years. $100 billion in the next 3 years is a ton, only on their chip manufacturing. So they're not going to slow down anytime soon.
No. I'm not saying that they're going to slow down. I'm saying the rest of the world has to catch up.
Well, that's why I think they're trying to spend so much money. And China's trying, and I think we are too, but them saying they're going to open a plant in Phoenix is to kind of try to, hey, we're on the
Yeah.
same team. But I think that can only be good for us in terms of supply chain. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hopefully that would speed up. I mean, there's so many things that's
Get them PS5s out.
Xboxes. You got the cars, new cars that have to have that.
Yep.
That's
everything nowadays.
Time clocks that we can't get at work.
I mean, it's incredible. So that's why, and they think since Afghanistan, our withdrawal there, China's gotten more provocative. So, I mean, clearly, if you do that, if you show that you and apparently they're I don't know if it was their president or their foreign affairs person did a national broadcast where he was saying that they're starting to try to some information warfare, saying like China doing in Taiwan is saying, you see how the U.S. left their allies in Afghanistan after 20 years. Like they're not going to be here for you. They're literally, I mean, they're using that as propaganda against us in Taiwan already. So
don't be looking at me like that.
I just wondering if you had any comments.
I don't. It's hard to imagine war, like, and I don't know what that would affect us. Would it just be another Afghanistan?
No,
Taiwan
no.
is. I mean, no, it's. I mean, yeah, obviously not. But
when you say Afghanistan, what do you mean, though?
would we not necessarily feel it that much at home?
I think we'd probably feel it more so than
Oh gosh, yeah.
the last one.
Afghanistan seems so
Like,
remote.
does it just become a world war?
I don't know if they're. It's hard to see a war in that where we're drawn in with China where it doesn't become something
Right.
major because. And people will argue, and I don't want war, but if China does take Taiwan, and they're in charge of now, since they probably do some chips themselves, but if they're now in charge of over 50% of the chip, they have a lot of bullying power on the world stage where they can start gathering alliances that countries that used to drift towards us and maybe let us have military bases are now going to say, well, no, we probably need a Chinese military base, or they're not going to be trade allies with us anymore. You'll start to see a shift from a Western ideology more towards an authoritarian identity for a lot of countries. And I think that's going to happen in Africa. If they start doing it in South America, then we will probably run into a lot of issues. But economically, they could raise the price of chips, which would raise the price of everything from phones to cars to Xboxes. I mean, everything. If China got in, I mean, what would China do to help us if they took Taiwan? Taiwan is in every sense an ally with us except on paper. I mean every sense. So there are a lot of issues if China was to do that from us, just economically, not even from a military standpoint. So I think we have there's a lot of consequences that we would need to think through. Now, if this was before 1990 and the chips wasn't a thing, I think we probably wouldn't defend Taiwan.
Yeah.
It would not be as much of an issue for us. But now, so we rely on them so much for so many things. And how many millions of Americans and companies would go bankrupt if that were to happen? Because if there was an attack and it was a prolonged war with Taiwan defending itself, you have to know that their chip manufacturing would go down. Mm-hmm. And then we would be in another supply shortage, which would only exacerbate what we're in now. And it would be huge demand and very, very low supply.
It's a lose-lose situation then.
But
I mean, I don't see any reason why China wouldn't end up doing it anyway. I don't think we'd go to war. Because there's no, what's the outcome in which we win?
Well, you defend Taiwan. First off, it's very hard to attack a fortified island. We saw that in World War II. We've seen it in history of warfare, and we send a ton of weapons their way. They're apparently in the next 10 years going to spend like $200 billion, or maybe it's $2 billion. Huge gap there. They're going to spend several billion. I know.
I'm leaning towards $200 billion.
I don't know. That's a lot for their economy, but on defensive weapons. So if you have enough defensive weapons that can take out enough, it just depends on how China attacks, because they can attack in so many different ways. It's not. I mean, it's basically Taiwan just in the shadow of this huge nation right beside it that is just barely
How many
hanging
people
on
live in
out
Taiwan?
there. Like 20-something million. But
China could drop off 20 million people.
But they're also like in the top,
plane.
the top
And
30.
you never miss them.
The top 30 country, like in terms of economies in the world, because they're that powerful with their chip conducting or manufacturing. So,
How many square miles is Taiwan?
oh gosh, it's smaller than Mississippi, I think.
Really?
I mean,
That's a lot of
Taipei.
people stacked on top of each other.
Oh, the density is quite big. But the Defense Department today said we will stand with Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
So Xi, who is, well, we don't know if that really what that means. Xi has said that he doesn't want this to be an issue for the next generation. So they will take Taiwan by force if they need to. So I think that a conflict is coming, and more flights indicates that it's probably getting closer. And the Afghanistan withdrawal and the botching of that has to be. It can't be anything that makes China pause and think, okay, maybe America doesn't want, like, maybe they'll have some type of response that can only motivate them to speed up their ideas of attacking and what America would do at this point. Because America seems, in the world's eyes, wounded at this point. The last few days of our Afghanistan 20-year war, we have 13 casualties for armed service members, and we hadn't had a death in, I think, over a year at that point. And then we just kind of got out of there as fast as we could. Had people falling off planes. It was just chaos. So I'm sure China thinks about that, and they're like, why would they risk coming over here after they just got done with the war? The American people don't want war. Now is probably the perfect time to do this. Yeah. So
find out.
I don't know, And then the French hate us now.
Because of our woke culture?
Well, they have said that. But the French had a submarine deal with the Australians, and it had been going on for several years, and they had already put some money into it. And then the U.S. and Britain kind of went behind France's back and made an agreement with Australia that they would build and design their nuclear submarines and give them the technology over like a span of a few decades, and they canceled the France contract. So France recalled their ambassador to the U.S. based off of that, and then they canceled some type of event like the next day. So Biden's supposed to meet with Macron, and then the next few months over it, and I think it will be a interesting talk. So the foreign minister for France said they were stabbed in the back. That's how strongly they felt.
Ooh.
So, and they also said this was basically, the same foreign policy type that, Biden said he would not bring to the table. Yeah. So, I don't know why we wouldn't have just included France in the deal. I guess it's just two different types of submarines, but...
Well, I mean, what would they be included in? I mean,
if
just
they don't
letting
have
them know?
If they don't have the technology and the nuclear technology for nuclear submarines, and it's not for nuclear weapons, it's nuclear-powered submarines.
No, I understand. So France doesn't have the capacity.
They might, but the
design
is different.
That they were selling their design to Australia.
And I don't think they were nuclear-powered. I think it was different.
Oh, okay. Soybean-powered subs.
Soybean-powered.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be pissed off, too.
I mean, if they had a lot of money in that, and they lost a lot of money because the contract was canceled. So, but this is all. I say that because that's an alliance, and that's the whole purpose of that is to alleviate China's dominance in the area in terms of naval power.
Yep.
So yeah.
Chips.
What's the next topic?
That's a long one.
I don't know what you got.
Weren't you talking about chips too? Is this like a combined chip thing?
I don't think so.
What is your thing about?
Oh, the mileage tax.
No, the other thing.
It was that. Taiwan. And the importance of...
What was your thing?
It was China flying their jets.
Yeah, see, that kind of came together.
Well, I intentionally did that. I was saying why Because right now the argument is, well, what does Taiwan matter? Like, why would that matter to us? And I'm trying to explain why exactly that matters, and
Gotcha.
why this little island out there by China is so important to America. But
That's
so,
nice. Nice job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Segue into, so in the infrastructure plan, that
The $3.5 trillion plan.
Well, how much does it cost? I've seen people say it's going to cost nothing, and then I've seen 1.8, I've seen 1.5, but the mileage tax is a tax that they're talking about. It's not implemented in this plan, but it is basically the idea. Or what they're going to do is spend at least $100 million researching until 2026. The idea of taxing vehicles on a per mile basis. And so I did some research onto why exactly they're trying to do that and what exactly.
How much do they think it'll make them in revenue?
They don't really know.
That's what the $100 million's for.
Yeah, right. So I read that in 2019, if they had just put a $100 tax on electric vehicles, they would have made $150 million, which is probably only gone up since then. But the whole purpose of this is because electric cars aren't paying the gas tax at the pump, and they're trying to get that revenue back. Of course, this is also a way for them to just tax more.
But they wanted us using electric cars.
Yeah. I mean, right now, if they did this, the worst off are obviously trucking companies.
Yeah.
Anybody,
I mean, that would all be subsidized.
Rural
There's no way it wouldn't be.
and rural areas obviously have it worse because they have to drive further than, somebody in the city.
Yeah.
So it's a disadvantage to
Taxi
rural
drivers,
states.
probably subsidized.
How would you do it with Uber drivers that make money on a per mile, and taxi drivers that make money on? Or are they
So
gonna,
this is per mile gasoline, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So this is without even talking about the gas tax at the pump. This is like a per mile.
Just from the vehicle traveling
Yeah.
a mile.
Yeah. So, and I think it was like 1.8 cents per mile. So, the average American drives, they said like 15,000, so it'd be like a $1,200 tax a year on top of everything else. So you've got people who have the local, like the lower class and the middle class of the economy that have to drive to their jobs, not people who have to sit at home or can work from home or work from anywhere. They're going to be less affected. So you've got the lower part-time workers or the minimum wage workers that are going to be taxed at a high, probably more so than anybody else. And the people who can afford electric cars are going to get off.
Yeah, so this is really only going to affect middle and lower class for the most part.
Yeah. So what's funny is after this, will they start thinking of a per mile for the jets, for flights?
No,
Well, why not?
because they don't pay anything already. Why would they all of a sudden start paying?
Well, that's the same thing for this, I would think. We don't pay anything right now in a per mile.
No, but anything. I mean, they don't. Why would big business all of a sudden start having to pay?
Well, it depends on what they're. Well, they could say for tax
Like
revenue, but also to offset the issue with the climate. I'm sure that they could attack it from that direction.
Is the post office going to have to pay?
Again, yeah, I think there are a lot of questions on that. Because the post office, I mean, imagine how much. Oh, well, people, that was the whole thing. It
I
was
wonder
like,
who is the most.
I looked up why, I was trying to look up this, and every article was fact check. This is not in the bill. Like, the tax is not in the bill.
Yeah.
Which, it's true. The tax is not in the bill. But the whole thing is to just establish the research. And the goal, literally from the Forbes article, according to the infrastructure package, the goal of the vehicle miles travel fee is to test the feasibility of a road usage fee. And that's basically all you hear in the media. But then it goes on, another goal, according to the infrastructure bill, is to conduct public education and outreach to increase public awareness regarding the need for user-based alternative revenue mechanisms for surface transportation programs. So basically, it's trying to inform the public as to why they need this and why. So they can say that, well, it's not in there, but in 2026, you can bet that they're going to add this, and it's going to be a new tax. So get your electric vehicles while you can.
Well, I mean, most of the top brands say they're going to move over to all electric. Well, I don't know if that's true. Who's going all electric?
But again, if you have a chip
Going
shortage,
all electric.
if you have a chip shortage at that point, then you're in bad luck.
I don't know, but I'm not going to get upset about something that ain't happened. Taiwan might be gone by that point. We might have no chips. We might be Flintstoning it.
So, do you know how much we pay per gallon right now in a federal tax?
35 cents.
You're not too far off.
37
You got a
cents.
guess, Austin?
45 cents.
So it's not that high.
23.
And it hasn't been increased since 1993. It's at 18 cents, 18.4 cents a gallon. And in diesel is 24.4 cents. So in 2019, it brought in $36.5 billion.
That's why you said the $100 for the 150. That's like nothing. 150 million.
I know.
I mean, it's nothing.
Nothing.
Going back to that point, because I don't know, I know very little about electric cars. Electric cars.
RC cars.
So let's pretend that 70% of people who are driving gasoline powered vehicles now move to electric, and we have the infrastructure to power all of them and charge all of them. Who pays that?
Well, that's the whole question is, right now electric drivers can go basically to the outlet mall here and charge up.
Would it not just be simpler and make more sense to charge the people with the electric cars?
I agree, but I mean, our government is all right. Well, there are some people that aren't paying their taxes, so we're going to get them another way. But it ultimately falls on the poorest individuals, the people who have the older cars that have not as good as gas mileage, and they have to drive for a long way. Anybody that has to drive for work. Imagine the people that drive to manufacturing plants in Mississippi. That some of them drive from out of state, and that's a daily. I mean, that's an added. I cannot see this being anything good for rural businesses.
There's quite a few people at where I work that drive over an hour to work every day.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge cost. I mean, it probably make people reconsider exactly where they live.
Yeah,
and their job
if they could
potentially, and if they could. So I mean, it's.
I mean, but it's not big enough. That's the whole thing. It's not going to be big enough. $1,200 isn't big enough for someone to change their job.
Well, that's the average.
But
so imagine if somebody drives more than that. That's a $1,200 for a lower class family or just a single based income. That's a lot. I mean, a lot of people, I forget what the latest, can't even afford.
No, I know.
A month's rent if they were to get laid off. So, I mean, that's $1,200 is a month's rent for sure.
Yeah.
So, and that's if they're driving the normal amount that an American drives. If they drive over that, it's even more than that. So, and not even if we're not even talking if they don't raise the gas tax too, since they haven't raised that since 1993.
Is there something about raising the gas tax?
If they're talking about this, I would not be surprised if they don't talk about that as well.
It seems like a better idea.
Well, if they're trying to get all of us driving electric cars, then yeah, in the long run.
I don't
like the invasiveness of having some device from the government more so than I care about the actual gas tax.
I think there are some huge privacy concerns there.
Yeah.
But I think we're skipping the whole thing, and the government seems to do this. I think we need a better way, or just a better. I've seen other ways of creating roads. I think we need a better solution in terms of what we use as roads.
You know what we need?
I know this is not going to be serious, but yeah, you can go ahead.
We need to stop tax returns, period. Not tax returns, filing taxes. Those, unless, you do need to file your individual taxes with your individual deductions. If you're taking the basic deduction of a person, of what is it now? $6,000, $4,500, I can't remember. They need to send you and tell you how much you owe or how much you're getting back.
I've always thought that too.
They also, and it needs to come with, per person, a pie graph of all the money you were charged in tax, basically, and how much each of that went into what part of the federal budget.
Oh, I think that would be great, but they'll never do that.
No, they would never do that.
It would be. I would be more willing at that point if I at least saw what my money was going to.
Yeah, because 30% would go to welfare, probably 30% to defense.
Oh, we don't even want to have a talk because the whole reason for this, the mile per gallon tax, is because the highway fund is going to be insolvent. Well, we don't even want to even talk about Social Security.
No, we don't. What is it, like 30?
I mean, that is going to go bankrupt in
32, I think.
In our lifetime.
Yeah.
Like, not even in our elder years.
No.
But we don't want to have that conversation.
Am I getting a refund?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't going to make a difference. It's not going to.
Well, we're going to
be $12 a month.
There's going to be a reckoning at some point in terms of how exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
Because our generation is paying money every paycheck to something we will never see.
It is hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
A paycheck.
And we won't have the conversation about raising the retirement age, but I mean, I think
that's not even a good option.
I don't think so. Yeah.
What is it already?
Why not just
65?
And it might be higher than that now. But why not just let people do their own thing? I'd much rather put my money.
I mean, if you really have to.
Well, right now our generation can't. You have that money that's automatically coming out, and then you have to save the other amount if you want to do something on your own.
Could they just stop it for a while?
Stop what?
Social Security.
Oh, then a lot of elderly people wouldn't have any money.
Well, no,
any income.
Surely they got enough to fund the next 50 up now.
You would think, but
I don't have enough faith.
Which I mean, no, they don't have it now because every year they're paying for it. We're living paycheck to paycheck here in America.
It's just the political system and people not having the courage to deal with that, and our generation not caring.
Yeah, well, they'll care.
Oh, they'll care. We will have to care in 10 or so years when things either we have to pay more to fund it, because I cannot think of many ways to Social Security continues without either raising the retirement age or raising how much goes into it or lowering how much people get. And inflation, you got to bring that into account too, because people now are getting paid same amount but less in terms of what it's actually worth than what it used to be. Because a $2,000 check back in 1990 is way different than it is in 2021.
And that's a good check.
I mean, back then that would have been good money
for Social Security. That's I mean, there's tons of people that make less than that.
Yeah.
We'll make what? Well, right now I ain't gonna make nothing.
Zero.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
They're gonna raise the retirement age 95. You can retire.
It's incredible to me that we have not had that become an issue for our generation. It's just
because they don't care.
It's just
they won't be affected by it. That's a problem for another generation.
Yeah, they keep pushing it back.
But that's something that needs to be talked about
that is something
already.
They don't want to talk about.
Well, I know, and that's the issue. Nobody wants to talk. Literally, nobody's talking about that. We'll talk about the highway fund. That's not anywhere near as large as the entitlement fund in Social Security that's about to run out. Literally. I can't wait for that day.
We just don't have enough money.
That's not true, though. We spend money on the wrong things.
Yep.
Like research for random things. like 120 million going to this mild tax research and pretty much informing people as to why they need it. Do we need to spend 100 million doing that?
I don't know.
Why not let people make their own decisions?
We need to, but I don't know if it all adds up to $1 trillion. This is what we need.
Who knows what's in that?
Who does know?
I mean, it's
why are they so long?
I don't know. Everything is so complicated with government now that it's almost like it's intentional against the average American. So they cannot read it. They don't know what's in it.
They need to work on removing some of these laws and policies.
Yeah. If it can't be written in 3 paragraphs, it doesn't need to be a law.
Which I think with this whole tax thing, it's so confusing as to all the things, the exemptions, things you have to pay for, the tax rates on certain things. You have no idea where your tax money's going and how much of it's going to what.
Mm-mm.
And I'm telling you that's intentional.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it is intentional.
I mean, how much is going to something how much is actually going to Social Security? And how much is going to the Department of Education, the Department of Defense?
It's probably not what that number says on your pay stub.
Yeah.
It's probably going somewhere else.
I don't got one of those numbers.
Well, like government jobs do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'll say, like, it'll have a number.
This is how much is going to
Social Security, and what else is on there?
But basically,
FICA.
Yeah, FICA. Everything's getting more expensive.
It is.
Everything.
I did notice.
Everything. I mean, you can't continually raise. You can't print money all the time, and you can't continuously raise prices on things to make up for that and expect things to go down well. There's people becoming less and less wealthy.
Well, the American
just,
people make less and less as time goes on.
Oh yeah. What I'm saying with this mile tax, imagine if it's a company, they're not going to replace the money that you're spending on the mile tax. They're not going to pay you more to offset what the government's taking.
Well, here you go. Let's say we get the mile tax, and then everyone gets electronic cars. How do you replace the mile tax?
Pay more in Social Security. I mean, at that point, it's anybody's guess.
Just raise taxes.
They'll just
I don't know why this is.
They'll get in a room and create some random idea, and then they'll spend $100 million going out in the country to inform people as to why. It
sounds to me like everyone needs to start smoking cigarettes again.
Because they don't make enough money on the cigarette tax.
We need some more cigarette tax income.
But like for Mississippi, so the federal rate's 18 cents, 18.4. Mississippi's 18.79. We're number 48 in the price.
That's not sure.
Number 1 is California for almost 67 cents a gallon. I mean, that's insane. And Alaska's last for 14, almost 15 cents per gallon. But add on a mile tax on top of that. I hope you can get like a 7-year mortgage, or not mortgage, loan on a car. I mean,
bicycles have become very...
Because Teslas, what are Teslas, 70, 80,000?
Yeah.
I mean, the average American cannot afford that. It's
and
just
a house. I mean, an average American probably can't even afford
with less money,
car.
With inflation, with prices for everything going up. And now you got a mile tax. Like, all right, well, the offset is to get an electric vehicle.
I don't know. We spent a lot of time on this this tax that doesn't exist.
But
it is. I
mean, you spend that much money, you think they're going to waste? Well, they will waste money on it. But
they already have.
My money would bet on that they're going to definitely implement this. Buttigieg has talked about it in the past. Several states already are doing it. Oregon being one.
What would it look like? Like something like I just don't like it. You know what I hate about Great Britain? Or maybe it's just England. And it's just the idea that bothers me.
The weather.
And I know we have way worse things here, I'm sure. I know we do. Their television license. Like you have to have a license to watch cable television.
You serious?
Yeah. It's like a specific thing. I don't know. It bothers. It's always weirded me out. That's just, I know, it's Probably I'm a hypocrite for saying that. For
You probably
being
have
an
to
American.
pay for the license.
Yeah.
And that offsets some of the, yeah.
But they got like these agents though for people who don't pay it, who like come and like. What am I looking for here? Bother you
like,
because they don't
bust in your
believe
living
you.
room, be
Because you
like-
can still watch it, you know.
Yeah.
Like you can still watch the television without a license, but they don't believe you. You're not watching it. So they're like they're trying to
It's
like harass
somebody
you into
knocks
paying
on
for
the
a
door.
license.
You just like turn the TV off.
We heard. We heard that TV on.
Ah, man, government has, it's weird.
I was watching Netflix. NCIS isn't on Netflix. Gotcha.
Netflix. Spooky. Tell us about it. Have y'all seen the South Korean show?
Squid Games?
Yeah, have y'all watched it?
Not yet.
It's apparently on pace to be the most watched Netflix show ever.
That's crazy. I didn't know it was that big.
It
There's
is
a ton
apparently massive.
I only
and
started
I'm gonna
watching
watch
it because somebody else was like, "Hey, have you heard of that show?"
How good is it?
It's not bad.
How many episodes are
I'm
you
only
in?
on,
It's a
the second
generic
episode.
like.
Okay.
There's like 1,000 of those shows in Japan.
Apparently, it's not as popular.
It's
as
like
that.
it almost feels like a live action anime.
That's exactly it. You can find that's what it is. They make
Yeah.
these types
So-
of these types
But
of movies or shows.
What was that show? The Japan show, which Wipeout was based off of in America,
Yeah,
which
what I'm
always used to come on cable TV back in the day, where they'd all like go through like this obstacle course and try to make it to the end, but they'd always end up getting pummeled by something and into the water. You know what I'm
Something to
talking?
do with ninjas.
I don't know. That was a hilarious show.
Ninja Warrior.
No, that's the American
This
version.
it's
or American
Oh.
show.
and they have a,
Was it not called
it's
Wipeout?
Japanese,
Just Japanese.
but they have American people or English speaking people talking. Yes,
And they look like they get hurt on that
yeah,
show.
like
really hurt.
There's no bureaucracy there. Like
Oh. Like
they,
that
they
step
get
one.
smacked around. The one where they're like, it's going around.
Yeah.
And you have to land on it. Those people fell and like get crunched in between and then fall down into the water.
The one where they're trying to
What
climb
is
the
that
stairs
show?
with like that has the soap on the stairs.
Yes.
Like that one looks like it'd be the most painful because the stairs, if you notice, they still hold their shape. And anything that holds its shape as a staircase and has that corner and doesn't give under someone's body falling on it doesn't feel good. And you got to keep doing it over and over and over again.
Okay, so it was called Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. It was an American comedy television that ran on Spike TV. Yes, from 2003 to 2007. It was a repurpose of footage from the Japanese game show Takeshi's Castle.
Okay, yeah. I kind of remember that.
That's funny. We did the same thing with Power Rangers.
I love me some Power Rangers.
Like all the fighting scenes in Power Rangers are the original like filming from Japan.
an
only
American dub.
Yeah, only the times when they have the masks off is actually the Americans.
I would
Or
save a lot of
Canadians.
time for.
Oh, absolutely.
Editing.
That was a great move. I mean, it's still Saban that does both of them, so it didn't really matter.
So,
Gas tax.
in summary of everything we've said today, the world's going to be at war pretty soon,
Yeah,
and
over
we're going to
Taiwan.
be taxed.
How can they even build
on each mile?
the tax thing if they don't have the chips to make the little counters?
Great question.
That's a lot of count. I mean, how many is that though? Really?
Oh, gosh,
How many cars do we
something
have?
million people in the country. I bet there's 100 million cars, if not 200 million. Because you've got to expect like 180 million or probably below 18.
It would just never like. I don't.
You
like,
say
is
that, but it's
But I mean,
that was the whole socialized.
no, I'm just talking
idea.
about making this machine. I mean, I guess it probably already exists, but getting it inside every one of them, how are they going to regulate that?
Probably
like,
like
are they
they
going to start
used
pulling
to with
people
the
over?
Inspection.
We're going to bring
tax.
back the inspection. I bet we would.
Oh, there's going to be a new enforcement force with this,
It's
and
gotta be
more
something
government
better than
enforcement.
gas tax, a mile tax,
Um,
adventure tax.
but you know, when Obamacare came out, this was like the whole idea, the argument. You know, everybody has to pay for each other's health care. They're like, well, you already pay for roads, or you already have roads, and you know everybody shares those. And now it will be, well, if you use this
do
road more
already
than
pay
anybody
for everyone
else.
else's health care. It's just the people who have your own health provider doing it.
I'm just talking about this specific case. How this is just going out the wazoo. The whole argument
I'm
that
just,
it's...
I know. I got you.
So what do we do with healthcare?
I mean, you're paying for other people's health care already.
Oh, I know that. And we're paying for their retirement fund as well.
Everyone.
We pay
We're
for
the
things
community.
that we don't need to pay for
Yep.
on a lot of different cases.
Somebody's got to pay for them, though.
Yeah.
Like, I just had back surgery. You think I'm paying that $76,000 on my own?
Well, we can get into that another day. Surgery and medical costs it all starts, I think, with this is so off topic, but with medical school cost, college cost, it's way too expensive.
Yeah.
It is absolutely, and then student loans are a joke. That is a scam.
Yeah.
That is a big scam. Colleges,
Loans in general are pretty much a scam.
well, I mean,
They're a
I
sin.
understand the when it was the first written, the idea of it. I can't afford this. Can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you're going to pay a little bit of premium because nobody's just going to lend you money and just.
Well,
They're
you
not gonna
have
lose
to have
money.
loans now.
You
There shouldn't
have
be
to.
so many things you have to have a
that's
loan
true.
for.
You have to get a loan to buy a house. You
Well,
have
I
to get a
think
loan to buy a new car.
Nobody
Nobody
owns
has
really
much
anything anymore.
A lot of people have to get a loan to go to college.
college.
I mean,
Yep.
if you go to a state school, even if you're working a
Yeah.
part-time job, like, you need that money up front. Like, you can't just live paycheck to paycheck. I don't think the school's going to take, your $50 working at Kroger every week. I mean, they probably would. They don't
Yeah, and
care.
you'd have nothing else to live on.
Yeah.
So
Any type of, home renovation you need, remortgage,
the
refinance.
American college system is screwed up. The medical school system is screwed up as well. I mean, education in general is really screwed up.
Dental insurance is screwed up.
Insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, healthcare just in general it needs to be revisited. It's way too expensive.
We need an overhaul.
I mean, if a surgery costs more than 95% of what Americans make in a whole year, then you're doing something wrong.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can see the value in insurance. Like, for instance, mine was, I was billed 76. I wasn't billed. The hospital billed out 76,000. They know my insurance isn't going to pay 76,000.
Yeah.
My insurance paid 16,000. And so what happened to the other,
Hospital
50,000?
ate the cost.
Yeah, because that cost never actually existed. It was just fake, to drive the price up.
That's why they have like their own what is it, career at college. The medical billing and coding,
Yeah.
just to be able to decipher all that.
It's insane.
It is.
It's almost like its own government bureaucracy. It's
Oh, they're hand in hand. They've done an excellent job of.
well, who's
Making
making
money.
a crap ton of money right now? Pfizer, Moderna too. My gosh, how beneficial is it? Yeah, you're gonna need a booster.
Gonna need a boost.
Somebody's paying, and who's ultimately we're not paying for it up front, but the taxpayers are paying for it because the
Yeah.
government's paying for it. So
Yeah.
it's a lie when they say it's free.
No, it's not free.
Because your tax money is going towards that, and it's now not going towards something else. So something else is not making as much money. And then we're also shipping that around the world.
Should be doing that.
There's an argument for it. But again, you could probably change some of our foreign aid because we spend
Yeah.
several billions on foreign aid every year to countries all over the world that you could repurpose towards that.
Yeah, we need a complete overhaul.
Of a lot of things.
Re-America. I'm waiting on that slogan.
Re-America.
We had Make America Great Again. What was the new one? Build better.
Build back
better. Next one, just Re-America.
What exactly was
America Part
what are we
2.
what are we building back? What was what was
Oh, that's this street on treetops has been under construction for a while.
and you want a rollerblade around?
I don't know. I don't know if we made America great again in the previous.
Well, campaign slogans are always supposed to be broad.
Well, like, let's say we did make America great again. Like,
I would argue that it is great.
no. Like, hypothetically, we made America great again
Yeah.
during Trump's term.
Uh-huh.
That, you would assume that would be building, right? You'd be building on America if you made it great again. I don't know where I'm really going with this. But if you were
wondering.
building and then Biden builds back better,
Well, that's what I'm asking.
we're
Like,
really
what are
we're
we
deconstructing.
What are we building onto?
Well,
We're
I'm just-
building back. It's a reference that something was destroyed.
Yeah. One of them slogans are wrong, I guess.
I think most political
I'm
slogans
sorry,
are
I'm done.
terrible.
Oh, they are. But not re-America.
Re-America.
Yeah, just Remerica.
I think in the next 10 to 20 years, I can't even say.
What's going to happen in 10 to 20 years?
I refuse.
Is it about the gas tax? The miles?
No. Even though I think that will happen.
Oh, that's gonna happen.
No, I think you're going to have an examining of the Constitution unlike ever before. I
Yeah,
think
I
you're
can
going to
agree
have
with that.
people that are going to, there's going to be a almost a new Continental Congress will be called, and then I think we will have some major issues in America.
I think voting will be a big part. I think we're going to, at some point, we're going to we're going to go to,
We're going to build back better.
we're going to build back better, no doubt. More population controlled voting.
How so?
Well, there might not be 2 senators per state, or something along those lines.
See, then you're saying like rural states would have one.
Yeah,
Yeah, well then that would be a huge issue for the country.
yeah,
Clearly, you're going to have an issue with rural states accepting that.
absolutely.
So that
But that's kind of like, if you get the majority, and you can, get them all convinced that, well, we are the majority. Why does Little Mississippi get the same power in the Senate than California? When we have, how many people they got? 70 million?
well, I don't know how many undocumented citizens they have. I really don't know how many people they have.
Well, they don't vote, do they?
Well, I did
They do
hear
in
yeah,
some
there are
areas.
some, which makes no sense to me.
I think Sacramento's one.
We don't have enough people that vote anyway. That's embarrassing. I was looking at the numbers the other day.
I do think
Just the percentage of people that.
we probably need to
registered.
change. I probably can't talk about this.
Yeah, you couldn't do that. Online voting. Yay or nay?
I'm going to abstain from this conversation.
Online voting for your favorite tacos, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, how many kind of tacos are
I'm
there?
tired of Taco Bell. I kind of want something new.
You
I'm
like
kind of-
Chipotle?
I do like Chipotle,
Why?
but it's not quite Taco Bell.
Why is it that when we get tired of a topic, we immediately go to food?
I don't know. I'm hungry though.
Well, so yeah, we covered a lot today, but
No, we did.
next time, what are we ranking next time?
I think you want to do movies, scary movies,
Could do that.
horror movies, or just Halloween movies.
So are we doing when we say Halloween movies? Well, I guess Halloween Town would be up there if it's not like a scary movie.
yeah, Hocus
Or
Pocus.
Hocus Pocus, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Casper. Casper, I would assume it's kind of.
We'll do horror movies, and then I don't know,
Okay. So
family friendly.
any kind of villain.
Yeah, any
Like it
Halloween
can be a
movie.
slasher or it
Yeah.
can be
We'll just-
like demon possession.
Halloween a movie.
Okay.
Works for me.
Does it
All
work for
right.
you, Austin?
I can't wait to see Austin's list.
I really love James and the Giant Pumpkin Pie. I don't know.
I thought it was the giant
Peach.
beanstalk. Or is it
James and the Giant Peach.
what is the beanstalk?
Jack and the
Jack.
Beanstalk.
Okay. James and the giant peach and Jack
And
and the
Jack
giant beanstalk. Or the beanstalk. It's the beanstalk giant. I don't know.
Jack and the magical beans?
I'm through.
You done? I'm done too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for what episode are we on?
That's 5. I think this is 5.
It's kind of like 4 point.
It's like 4.1.
Yeah, we'll just say
0.5.
4 or 5, one of the two. This is the candy bar episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So share with your friends if you liked what you heard. Comment.
And share even if you didn't like what you heard.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. We have at least 6 subscribers now.
Or don't miss out on the hot train. You never know when it's going to
You
take
never
off.
know when we're going to get to 10.
Yeah,
You want to be there before that happens.
No doubt. You want to be able to say, I listened to them before they had 10 subscribers.
We're really going mainstream.
All right. We'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.